Bring the lights down low, it's time to show. Lights, camera, you know what we mean. Behold the magic of the silver screen. Some movies rock, some movies shock, they're powerful, alright. We cover them all on your favorite part. So many movies we can choose, even when you win, you lose. Life moves pretty fast, some will fizzle and some movies last. I understood there would be no math, it's the 30-something movie podcast. Be excellent to each other, please add a word to your mother. They're from the best decades, movie magic that never fades. Lightsabers clash, phasers set to stun, action packed from dusk till dawn. We have deep thoughts and questions three, come share our love of the movies we see. Life moves pretty fast, some will fizzle and some movies last. I understood there would be no math, it's the 30-something movie podcast.
It is the 30-something movie podcast. I am your host, John Reed, here as always with my, I don't know, I guess I shouldn't tell people that we're spies. That's probably not a very spy-y thing to do.
No, I would think that would be counter to being a spy.
Yep. Nope. We're just, we do a podcast here, and we're all fine here now, and we work in schools. That's all we do. We don't, none of us are known as codename band director.
None.
How are you doing, codename band director?
John, I love our intro. I'm excited. I'm very excited for this show after listening to our intro. I love our tune.
I know. It kind of fires you up a little bit.
When you sat down to compose that and worked and toiled and all that kind of stuff, did you put in a theme song style? Or because it kind of has that like 90s sitcom vibe to it. Did you put that in, or did you pick the? How did that come up with that kind of a beat?
Yeah, so I wrote the lyrics. I did do the lyrics myself, and then I put the lyrics into one of the AI generator deals, and I told it I wanted, what did I say? I said I wanted like an upbeat 90s alternative rock anthem or something like that.
Yeah,
like upbeat 90s rock. Or I might have put some other stuff into it, and I tried a few different ones, and some were a little bit more hard rock than others, and some were a little bit more way too upbeat. It sounded like I was watching like a children's cartoon. But yeah, then I kind of like, after I tried maybe like 5 or 6 of them, then this was one of the options that it gave. I was like, nope, there we go. That's the music gives me the 90s feel in there. A little bit of, I don't know, when I hear some of the guitar stuff and some of the others, I get a little bit of a feel of the X-Men 97 theme.
Okay.
So, and I'm like, okay, that's about the vibe we're going for.
Well, super cool.
Yeah. I want to point out before we get going that Pat on the, did you know, I don't know if the rest of our listeners here know, that Pat is a celebrity?
Oh, God bless it all, John. We're all celebrities.
Do the people know this?
Because of this episode, because of this podcast, because of your vision.
No,
we're all celebrities.
You're a celebrity because you got a shout out on the Shirley Podcast Facebook page.
Oh man, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Love those guys.
So Travis Lasley, who I know listens to our show as well. So hi, Travis. He mentioned that when they were posting up something saying, "Hey, here's a bunch of movies released in June of '81. What are your top 3?" I look at the list of movies, and my first response is the meme sometimes you'll see from The Matrix that's like, not like this. Not like this. Like, don't make me choose. There was someone on the Facebook page for the Shirley Podcast that said, I'm going to pull a Pat from the 30-something movie podcast and reject your question.
That's cool.
So
outstanding. Cool. And John then reached for his don't button and realized I'm not on the podcast right now.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just on my phone. Looking at Facebook. No one's actually listening to me right now.
I think it's exciting that the rejection of troubling questions is spreading. That's very cool.
So Pat, you know what, Pat, you've moved beyond celebrity. You're a meme.
I am a meme.
Pat is a meme.
I don't even know what to say to all that other than thanks to everybody that listens to our show because it's a lot of fun.
There you go. So just wanted to echo the little shout out there because that was fun to see. We are talking
well,
about
thank you.
True Lies this time around, the
Yeah,
1994
we are.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jamie Lee Curtis movie, True Lies. So much fun. I'm going to let the cat out of the bag right now. It is just such a fun movie, and I always have so much fun watching it. It had been a while since I've seen it, but it is so much fun. So I'm looking forward to talking about this one. We do spoil, so as we're talking, if we mention the name of a movie and it sounds like we're going to say something about it and you don't want to hear it, maybe just hit the skip button once, maybe twice. Usually if it's once, we'll be done talking about one. Skip only, please. We'll be done with it, and you can move on with your life and keep listening. Visit our website, 30podcast.com. You can leave us a rating, a voicemail. You can become a co-executive producer via Patreon, where there are a bunch of bonus episodes over there. What I am also looking forward to is we'll pull back the curtain just a little bit. Tonight, after we are done recording our True Lies episode, gentlemen, what other 2 movies are we going to record for the Patreon feed?
Breaking
And Pat?
and Breaking 2.
There we go.
Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo.
I cannot wait. It's going to be
a lot of fun.
we are going to review the heck out of those movies.
Oh yeah. So if you're a fan of the Canon Group, of the Electric Boogaloo cinematic universe, any of that, then you're going to want to be a part of. Was that a face you made, Bo, or were you yawning?
That was a yawn. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it was like a combination yawn and oh dear Lord, what are they talking about?
No, the canon cinematic universe is alive and well.
Oh yeah. So
frighteningly enough.
Mm-hmm. So, yes. So, if you are not a part of our Patreon group over there, our Patreon co-executive producers, we invite you to join us over there because there's a lot of fun bonus stuff, but that will be one of the coming bonus episodes that'll be here in the feed very, very soon. All right. Let's just jump right on in to the Trivia Pursuits section. This one came out on my wife's birthday, July 15th of 1994. Rated R, with a runtime of 2 hours, 21 minutes, directed by James Cameron, who did Titanic and Avatar. Writers for this one, James Cameron and Claude Zidi, who did the original. Cameron wrote The Terminator and Aliens. Zidi wrote Les Ripoux and Banzai. He is French, so the things he wrote would be in French. Producers were James Cameron and Stephanie Austin. Cameron did Aliens and Avatar. Austin did The Abyss and Point Break. I have things to say, but I won't. Composer was Brad Fiedel, who did
Utah. Give me 2.
Give me 2. Utah. One sandwich only.
2 sandwiches? No.
No. Utah.
1 sandwich.
1 ping only. So there we go. Now we've just completely mixed up all of our metaphors and all of
We
our
are just
impersonations.
wrong, is what we are.
That's fine.
Everyone is confused. They're turning off their radios. I mean,
That's
phones.
If they're being merciful, they're at least running us at 1.25 speed, and we just sound like the chipmunks.
Ooh, me as a chipmunk. That's not good for anyone's ears.
I don't know.
The last 2 minutes of the episode reminds me of that late series episode of Next Generation where the holodeck went haywire.
Yes.
And there were like trains going through Shakespeare.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it just kind of seems like a little bit of mayhem.
That's a lot of our podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
If we were a Star Trek podcast, I feel like that would be the tagline, where the holodeck goes haywire.
30-something movie podcast with trains through Shakespeare.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Planes, trains, and Shakespeare.
Yeah. We've got our own little segments. Deep Thoughts with Kern.
Poor Kern.
Oh, it's all right. I can't wait.
Yeah.
You know what? I thought of something the other day. I'm like, hey, you know what we should do? Like a fun little bit would be when we get to the movie Memento, I want to record it in a Kern voice the entire time and just keep talking about how I don't remember anything. I think that could be a lot of fun.
That could be very fun.
Mm-hmm. So let's see. Composer was Brad Fiedel, who did the music for Terminator, Terminator 2, Judgment Day, and you hear it very much in this episode, in this movie. There are many, many spots where it's got that kind of Terminator 2 type sound to it. So a lot of fun stuff. Cinematographer was Russell Carpenter, who did Titanic and Ant-Man. Editor Conrad Buff IV. He did Titanic and Training Day. Production company was Lightstorm Entertainment. The budget was between $100 and $120 million. I have a trivia thing that says this may be one of the first movies to pass the $100 million budget. Seems like there might have been some before that, but it was a very, very expensive movie to make. So thankfully, it made back its money. It made $378.9 million. Flickmetrics gives it a 69%. Nice. Cinema Score gives it an A. Arnold Schwarzenegger was Harry Tasker. He was in Terminator 2, Judgment Day, and Predator. Jamie Lee Curtis was Helen Tasker. She was in Halloween and A Fish Called Wanda. Tom Arnold was Albert Gibson. He was in Austin Powers' International Man of Mystery. That's right, you show that turd who's boss. Bill Paxton, who died in 2017, was Simon. He was in Twister and Aliens. Tia Carrere was Juno Skinner. She was in Wayne's World and Lilo and Stitch. Art Malik was Salim Abu Aziz. He was in The Living Daylights and City of Joy. Eliza Dushku was Dana Tasker. She was in Bring It On and Wrong Turn. Grant Hesloff was Facile. He was in Argo and Good Night and Good Luck. Charlton Heston, who died in 2008, was Spencer Trilby. He was in Ben-Hur and Planet of the Apes. Marshall Manesh was Jamal. He was in The Big Lebowski and Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. James Allen was the Jihad leader. He was in Space Jam and Armageddon. And Dieter Rauter was the boathouse guard. He was in Lethal Weapon 3 and The Fifth Element. So this movie is based on a French movie from just 3 years before, a French spy comedy film directed by Claude Zidi, which was called La Totale. The story of that one, Francois Voisin leads a double life as a top secret agent known as The Sword, while maintaining the facade of an ordinary telecommunications employee. On his 40th birthday, he's called away on a mission to plant a microphone in an arms smuggler's car. Although his friends mock his seemingly dull life, Francois' secret work leads to a high-stakes operation involving a prostitute, a missile expert, and a smuggler. Meanwhile, Francois' wife, Helen, unknowingly becomes entangled in his secret world when she starts meeting a man named Simon, who falsely claims to be a secret agent. Francois' jealousy and suspicions lead to a series of misunderstandings and a kidnapping plot. Eventually, Francois reveals his true identity to Helen, and together they thwart a terrorist plan, solidifying their relationship with newfound excitement and trust. So that is the original. Yeah, so basically some little comparisons there. Both are kind of action comedy movies, and so there are some of the same balances, that action and that comedy between the two movies, between lots of, and obviously we've got a lot of comedy in here with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Tom Arnold. The key scenes in the movie are kind of both where Francois kidnaps both Helen and Simon, leading Helen to believe she's part of a real mission, which mirrors Harry's trick on Helen in True Lies. Very similarly, they get their true identity revealed, and then both films feature kind of obviously they both feature a secret agent and an unsuspecting wife, and then the climax of both movies involves the couple kind of working together to thwart some kind of major threat. So that is a comparison between those two. Jodie Foster actually was originally cast in the role, and then she had to turn it down when she signed on for the lead in the movie Nell. So it was originally going to be Jodie Foster instead of Jamie Lee Curtis. You know what? I like the Jamie Lee Curtis option better.
Me too.
Not to say that Jodie Foster couldn't do it, but I don't know. I think I like Jamie Lee Foster.
Jamie Lee Foster. Now there's a whole nother ballgame.
There's a mashup. Yeah, I think I have a hard time seeing anybody else in this role. I know that any movie could probably trade somebody out for a part, but I don't know. I think she's really, really good in this. She plays the kind of like bored housewife very, very well in this movie in a way that I think, I don't know that too many other actresses would do as good of a job as she could do, especially when it takes a turn and now she's part of the action.
And I wonder, it would be very interesting seeing Jodie Foster do comedy, because I don't know that I've seen her do a comedic role. Mm-hmm. There's probably 100 of them, and people are like hitting their heads against the wall to hear me say that. I'm just saying, like, I'm thinking of her in, wasn't she in Flight Plan? The one where Boromir was flying the plane and her daughter disappeared?
Yes, she was. Now, not like straight up comedy, but in like a month or two, maybe next month, she is in Maverick with Mel Gibson.
Okay.
And that's a bit, I mean, it's got comedy bits to it.
Yeah.
She was in the original Freaky Friday.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember how many other really like comedy movies she's been in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just, because I'm thinking of her in like Silence of the Lambs, Contact. Right. I mean, that's what I think of her. So I would just be intrigued to see that. But
yeah, not a comedy unless you want to watch it that way.
Yeah, that's exactly it. John, to your point though, it's really hard to see anybody replaced in this because they're all just so everyone is so well played, and they work so well together.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the team of them, that's just awesome. And I don't know if this is the time to do it now, but I watched the Arnold Schwarzenegger documentary, which I'm going to go wax eloquently about it. It's a 3-parter. It's on Netflix, and it's worth a watch for everybody. I loved it, and I'm a Schwarzenegger fan, so there you go.
Yeah.
But there's one thing, they interviewed her, and she spoke very highly of Arnold Schwarzenegger, and she told a story where I forget if she asked or somehow they came down and asked if for billing, her name was going to be listed further down, and she asked for it to be moved up higher. And now that sounds there was something more to it. Like she was a lead in the thing and all that. Bottom line was, at that time in history, the actress was always listed afterwards, at least according to the story she tells in the documentary. And when they asked and approached Schwarzenegger, hey, he was like right away, yeah, do it. Kind of like fire it up. And she just remembers saying, I'm so thankful for him for just having such a generous spirit and doing that. And it was very rare that women would get that equal billing.
Yeah.
But on the movie card, like, she's listed right up there with him. So the bottom line is, I think they really got along. I think they had a lot of respect for each other, and the chemistry is just amazing.
Yeah.
All of which to say is it's hard to imagine someone else in the role, but it was pretty cool.
Arnold's over there like, do it now, get her to the top of the credits. Yeah. Okay, Arnold, calm down, Arnold. True Lies is actually an Oscar nominee movie. You're gonna love this. You're gonna love this, Pat. So hold on. The film's visual effects team were nominated for an Academy Award for their work on the film. They lost to Forrest Gump.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna say. Forrest Gump, that was pretty big because that was the AI, or not AI, but that was the stuff where you get their mouths to move and you could have like President Johnson saying, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You remember what I was talking about? Like that was a big deal. And the Lieutenant Dan character, I know that they did some at the time, I think it was groundbreaking stuff where they could really bring that to life, making him look like veteran that had lost his leg. So I can see that.
Yeah. 3 of the jets in the movie are actual military fighter jets. The producers rented out 3 Harrier jets and their pilots from the U.S. government for shooting. The total fee on those was just over $100,000, based on apparently the hourly rate to rent out military fighter jets and their pilots is $2,410 an hour.
Jeez.
I am clearly in the wrong line of work.
I was going to say that's quite a deal.
That's not my hourly rate.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could rent me. You could rent me, but I'm not going to be able to fly a jet for you.
Right. What do you go pay, John? What's your hourly rate?
I don't know. What do I have to do?
All right. Well, that's good to know. I'll take that under advisement.
Just say sarcastic things.
Yeah.
$60 an hour.
All right.
Just to sit around and say sarcastic things. If you want me to say nice things, $75.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, it just takes a little bit more effort. In an interview, Arnold Schwarzenegger was asked what the closest he has ever been to death. He said it was on 2 movies. One was on The Sixth Day, and the other one, and actually I believe this is a direct quote from Arnold, he said, on True Lies, you probably remember the horse scene. There was a shot where the horse had to stop at the edge of a building. They built a little ramp to give the horse longer to stop, but when they were measuring the new distance from the ramp to the camera, they dropped the arm of the camera on the horse's nose, and it went crazy. And it was spinning and rearing. There was no rail. The ramp was only 4 feet wide. He said, I realized it was a bad situation. I slid off the horse right away, and a stuntman grabbed me. That one was really scary. If the horse stepped a foot the wrong way, we would have fallen 90 feet to a cement floor. He's like, these stories are why I will always love stunt people.
Fair.
And actually, I think his story about the 6th day, where he almost fell off of something in the movie, in the filming of the 6th day, he was also saved by a stunt person.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then Arnold tells his biggest challenge for the movie was not doing physical stunts, but instead learning to dance a tango.
Yeah.
He had to take dancing lessons to realistically perform this. He rehearsed that scene for 6 months because he wanted to make sure he was as good at the tango, he says, as good at the tango as Al Pacino was in Scent of a Woman.
Ooh.
Hoo-ah, which ironically uses the same song.
I'm just saying, first of all, I'm a fan of the tango. Tammy and I took dance lessons. Tango was by far my favorite dance. It kind of took me by surprise to do.
Nice.
Oh, it's awesome. And I mean, we took dance lessons for I think like a year and a and a half. So we just learned like the basic steps and but it was great.
Yeah.
Anyways, all I'm going to say is, I love this movie so much. Here's what I'm going to say. That whole scene when he's like, you got Tom Arnold, who, can we just say for a second, what a perfect odd couple pairing. You know what I'm saying? Buddy cop movie. Those two guys are like, knocked it out of the park. Awesome. But when he's just like, all of a sudden, Harry, we've got a lot of guards going crazy here. We got to get going, buddy. We got to get going. And all of a sudden she comes up and he's like, ditch and go. And the perfect line, Harry, we do not have time to tango, buddy. And at that, it jumps into the bum 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 bum, and that dramatic theme. Oh my gosh, that is an excellent scene. That is like, I mean, and I think that I forget exactly what the setup is, but somehow when they jump right into the music, it's fantastic. And I think it comes right on the heels of Harry, we do not have time to tango.
Yeah.
Well, and then everything about that scene.
And then it comes back at the end of the movie when he's trying to when it's Harry and Helen at the end of the movie, and he's trying to convince. He's like, guys, national security guys, come on, we don't have time for this.
Yeah. Oh my God.
There's always time to tango.
Oh man.
All right.
God, I love this movie.
Synopsis for this one. In a world of secrets and lies, secret agent Harry Tasker leads a double life. His wife, Helen, believes he's a boring computer salesman until terrorists, led by Salim Abu Aziz, threaten their lives. With his partner, Gib, Harry must save his family and the world. True lies, where deception and danger are a family affair.
Tell us about your husband, Mrs. Tasker.
Harry? What can I say about Harry? He's a sales rep for a computer company. My husband is a good man.
So you think he's boring?
Well, maybe a little.
Sorry about this.
Husband.
So one thing we learned from the trailer is we're not going to let Arnold speak. There's a bunch of funny. Arnold's got a bunch of his kind of trademark one-liners in this, but I guess they decided they were just going to save him for the movie because it does not feature in the trailer. Although I feel like
tell us about your husband. The whole tell us about your husband. Yeah. Wasn't that like distorted voice that they used?
They hadn't put the effects in yet when they did the trailer or something. That was weird.
And I'm not even sure that those were her exact same lines either. I think it sounds like they probably kind of re-recorded those for the trailer.
Yeah.
Because he's got a bunch of funny. However, I feel like I remember seeing a different trailer because I feel like even before seeing this movie, because I wouldn't have seen it in the theater at this point, not in '94, but I feel like I remember seeing a trailer, and I kind of. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but I kind of vividly remember that at least the line, "Have you killed people?" Yeah, but they were all bad. Like I remember
that line.
I remember that being in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe there was a different trailer at one point. But all right, we have got some major moments for Harry. Harry Tasker appears to be a mild-mannered business software salesman to his wife Helen and daughter Dana. Dana. In reality, he is a secret agent.
Get to the Harrier!
Dana, get into the Harrier! Now! Do it!
Hey,
I will
kid,
catch you
I
from the
remember my
chopper.
first- Hey, kid, I remember my first time being shot out of a cannon.
Uh-huh.
Love that.
Yep.
Fair warning, everybody.
Yeah.
This is quotable.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying so hard.
No,
I'm trying to
you're
behave.
fine. I just wanted to make sure people knew.
In
Wow.
reality, he is a secret agent for Omega Sector, a top secret U.S. counterterrorism agency run by one-eyed Planet of the Apes star Charlton Heston, and he's hilarious
You
in this.
dirty apes.
He is hilarious in this.
He really is. What makes
What was-
you think the slack I give Harry
Right.
applies to you?
I
Love it.
know. I just love that.
I want to
Everything about this movie is perfect.
use that at some point.
Yes.
I feel like there's a hierarchy within the family here that I can use where Sharon will get special treatment, and then I have to look at the kids and be like, what makes you think that the treatment that I give your mom translates to you?
John.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I think you're missing a golden opportunity. I think you should use it at work.
I have
think-
plans to use it at work.
Okay, good. Because I was
yeah.
going to say, like, in the pecking order of some of those meetings of, well,
Uh-huh.
who's technically is in charge of who and who is this? I think you could easily look and say, what makes you think that the slack that I catch, and then you pick whichever person you want to like establish as the boss.
Mm-hmm.
What makes you applies to you? I think that would be absolutely beyond awesome, outstanding.
Yeah. I have in the little back corner of my head where I save movie quotes. I have that, and I have the Saving Private Ryan gripes go up quote that I plan on using at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Harry and Omega Sector teammates Gib and Faisal infiltrate a party in Switzerland hosted by billionaire Jamal Khaled. Harry meets Juno Skinner, who is connected to the terrorist faction Crimson Jihad, led by Salim Abu Aziz. Harry visits undercover a little bit later. Oh, let me back up there for a second. When he is there at the party in Switzerland, that also has a line that I know I remember from some other trailer where they like, "Sir, where's your invitation?" "Here's my invitation." And he clicks the button and explodes
I
behind
love
him.
it.
What a fantastic scene that is.
I think we
And,
mentioned that. Did we not mention that scene in our Greatest Explosions of All Time episode last week?
I don't know, but
I feel like
mean,
we did.
We better
Okay.
have.
I hope so.
well, it was a miss if we didn't.
Yeah. I feel
I
like
have and you guys know I've got the sound bar happening now.
Oh, yeah.
Taking a step into the 21st century.
Yeah.
And the subwoofers kicking and the whole thing. And man, I was watching that last night. And holy Moses, when that explosion went, I felt the subwoofer in the corner. I mean, that was the first real proper maxed out explosion I've had, and it did not disappoint.
There you go. There you go. That's what makes it all worthwhile.
Mm.
Later on, Harry visits Juno undercover, leading to an attack by the terrorists. He does fight him off, but fails to capture Aziz due to the mission. And that's the whole scene where he's chasing him on the horse. I gotta get there quickly. My horse is getting tired. And he's like, "Your horse?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like you mentioned earlier. I love all those interchanges between Tom Arnold and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
They are so good.
They're so great because they feel lived in. Like, these two characters have been working together for far too long. They know way too much about each other, and they can say things to each other that you can't say to just anybody.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, it's just not a thing.
Yeah.
That you're allowed to say to a man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No.
But
Yeah.
these two guys can, and that is what makes that relationship so special.
No.
Yeah, agreed. And I'm just going to say a shout out here. I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger brings to life characters that I just don't know that any other actor really could. Do you know what I'm saying? I am a big Arnold. Basically, here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm a big Schwarzenegger fan.
Yeah.
I love it, and I think this movie is the proof is right there. I love watching him on screen. I love all the interchanges you just mentioned with Tom Arnold. And I know we're cutting ahead when he's just like, when they're listening in it, and then the guy's like, "Oh man, I'm beginning to like this guy," and all of a sudden he just looks at him like all of a sudden, "Oh, we still have to kill him," but I just
Right.
Oh, of course we have to kill him. But
this is
First we hang him, and then we kill him. I said we let him go.
oh man.
Thank you, Bo.
That's joy.
Yeah. Well, because Arnold Schwarzenegger does a great job. I mean, you think of some of the other guys that came up around the same time as Arnold Schwarzenegger. You think of he had a bit of a rivalry with Sylvester Stallone, is kind of a mild way of putting it. And you think of like all of those guys that are in that kind of group. I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger is a giant hunk of muscly beef. And yet he not only can play that part, but he can also be really, really funny. And I do think that Stallone can be funny. Like, he does have moments where he can be funny, but it's not as charming as Arnold. Arnold has a way of being this giant mass of muscle who could snap your neck by looking at you, but he also comes across as being very charming. And I don't think the other guys that are kind of came up around that time, like a Jean-Claude Van Damme, Sylvester Stallone, Chuck Norris, all these different guys that are kind of seen as like the action hero type guys. And those guys aren't even like the big, huge, muscly guys like Schwarzenegger. I'm thinking of like Dolph Lundgren too. Like, they're not, you know, they don't have the charm that Arnold seems to have been able to develop and to then translate into these movies. I was reading something the other day. It might have been related to, because we're going to do the Breakin' and Breakin' 2 movies. I was reading something about the Cannon films. I might have actually been rewatching a couple of weeks ago the Electric Boogaloo documentary that they did on the Cannon film, like the history of Cannon films. And I believe, unless I'm getting this wrong, did Schwarzenegger show up to the set of Masters of the Universe? Or was it somebody else? Somebody showed up to the set of Masters of the Universe, saw that it was Dolph Lundgren playing He-Man, and goes, "You gave that guy speaking lines?"
Well, for Arnold, that would be awesome for him to have said.
Right.
Get to the job.
I'm just saying, guys, if you want a fun watch, check out the Netflix documentary. It's a 3-part on Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, I haven't seen
it.
It's
really good.
Okay.
It's
I have
good.
no doubt. Like, he is such an intriguing guy in so many ways.
Yeah.
From his film choices to his choice to get into politics to, just, you know, if somebody doesn't become the governor without being an interesting dude.
Yeah. If you are looking for, and I haven't actually finished.
Is he a righteous dude?
He's a righteous dude. If you are looking for a book to read over the summer, and I have it, but I haven't finished it yet, otherwise I'd loan it to you. I picked up a book several months ago called The Last Action Heroes. And it is by Nick, I'm going to butcher the guy's last name, Nick Desemlian. Okay. Yeah. It is called The Last Action Heroes, The Triumphs, Flops, and Feuds of Hollywood's Kings of Carnage. And it's all about, it has a huge section on Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Jackie Chan, Steven Seagal, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Bruce Willis, Chuck Norris, Dolph Lundgren. I mean, it talks all about those guys. And it's funny because it'll be like this whole chapter may be on Arnold Schwarzenegger. And just as the chapter starts to end, it starts to tell you a little bit about, well, and then this guy Sylvester Stallone comes along, and they don't really get along very well. Then it goes into the chapter of Sylvester Stallone, and then I think you even get like a whole chapter of, okay, now we're going to tell you why these two guys hated each other and the kind of stuff they did to each other over the course of the 80s. But so far it's been a really good book. It's a real fun read. So if you're looking for a little summer reading, Last Action Heroes is the name of the book.
A little light summer reading.
A little light summer reading, yeah. It's nothing too heavy. Let's see. So anyway, the terrorist gets away, and there's the funny scene where they've got the elevator chase, where he's in his motorcycle going up the elevator, and then on the other elevator, Harry is in the elevator with his horse and the older couple. He does get away. The terrorist does get away, and because of this late-night mission, Harry, even though he promised, he misses the birthday party that Helen and Dana had planned for him, and so he gets home very, very late, and Helen is not happy with him. Harry does overhear Helen making plans to meet somebody named Simon, and then starts to suspect that she's having an affair. He starts to then use his Omega Sector resources and discovers that Simon is actually a used car salesman pretending to be a covert agent, which then starts a whole funny section of the movie where he goes to test drive a Corvette.
Yeah.
And then they kind of manage this whole setup thing, and we end up having the scene where he tracks Helen to Simon comes to pick her up and takes her back to his quote unquote safe house, which is actually just his trailer.
And I want to say it was a laugh out loud in the theater when them tailing him is more and more outlandish.
Yes.
When the Tom Arnold character goes, wait a minute, you're transferring assets? And then it's like, Air One, move in. And suddenly a helicopter appears. I'm like, that is outstanding.
Yeah.
That is outstanding.
And then when they finally like cut his trailer in half and come busting in.
Yeah. And then she needs the guy in the group. So then he hits him on the head and then Schwarzenegger. And that, Bo, what you said about how these characters were so lived in and they're all in masks and it's like a raid and it's like action and it's awesome. But the way they're able to bring the humor out of like, they're trying to make it seem like they're really taking these people down, but then they get kneed in the groin and they get knocked over and it's just, they're all kind of bumbling around. That whole scene was so well done.
It was.
Yeah.
It's just great.
Yeah.
It's just great.
So disguised Omega agents arrest Helen and Simon, and after scaring Simon away because he can't hold his bladder at the sight of a gun, and that's a whole funny scene. And I remember that part too, seeing it for the first time and thinking, okay, he finally has the chance to get away. And instead of getting away, he's like, no. As soon as I turn my back, you're going to shoot me. You're going to shoot me. I'm not worth a bullet, man. I'm not. And just he's like crying and sobbing and like almost trying to get back in the van. Dude, just walk away. Get out of there. It's game over, man.
Shoots at the ground. Get out of here.
Yeah. So then, based on that, Harry and Gibb interrogate Helen and learn that she is just looking for a little adventure. Like, not an affair. She didn't do anything with Simon. She just is looking for a little escape from the boring day-to-day of her life. So Harry arranges for Helen to participate in a staged spy mission. I'm sorry, let me say that again, but let me say it slowly. Say it doucement.
Doucement.
Which that is a hilarious scene too. My favorite part about that scene is immediately as she starts, when he's like, dance for me. And she starts like doing this little, like, I don't even know what kind of dance. No. It's like this weird little nerdy kind of dance. And he's like, no. And then she starts dancing for real. And she's really getting into this dance. And then she does that one. She kind of twirls around on the bedpost and loses her grip and completely falls flat on the floor.
I know. And then springs right back up.
Yeah.
And then Arnold jumps up like he's going to help her. And
right. Yeah.
But then all of a sudden he's just like, oh my gosh. And he's like he's like mopping his brow and drops the cassette tape.
Drops the tape recorder. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the midst of all of this, Aziz's men actually burst in and kidnap Harry. And then we've got that funny exchange of she thinks she's the spy now. And she's trying to tell Harry to shut up and not say anything. Harry's trying to be like, no, just don't talk. Like, don't say. And she's like, no, I'll handle this. Don't worry. And that whole kind of mistaken identity piece of the two of them arguing with each other. Then they take them to the Florida Keys, and under the influence of a truth serum, Harry does confess his secret life to Helen while they're there. They escape, discover Aziz's plan to detonate some nuclear warheads. They end up escaping the island, thwart the terrorist plans. He escapes with a warhead and ultimately ends up taking Dana hostage. Helen is captured by Juno, but later when they're on that kind of that iconic scene on the bridge where they're going down the highway and much like in Speed, the bridge is out. Like just a little bit further down, the bridge is out. And this time they're not going to make the jump. Well, she's going to make the jump out of the top of the limo. And then there's that great scene where Harry comes in with the helicopter and she's trying to reach out the top of the sunroof on the limo. And I would love to have his iconic line of, get in the chopper. But, you know.
The bridge is out.
Yeah.
The bridge is out.
The bridge is out. Jump now. Do it.
What an awesome act. What an awesome sequence, though.
Oh, it was great.
Just awesome.
And apparently she did her own stunts. She's like, no, I will dangle from the bottom of the helicopter. Thank you very much.
Yeah, man. Right on. Just
Aziz's convoy, including Helen, is heading on the overseas highway. That is when the Marine jets destroy part of that 7-mile bridge. That's when he rescues her, killing Juno in the process. She goes the way, after going off the broken highway, she kind of goes the way of a Ra's al Ghul and crashes into a fiery death. In Miami, Aziz and his men hold Dana hostage in a skyscraper. Harry commandeers a Marine Harrier jet to rescue her and Dana actually steals the missile control key, leads to a confrontation on a tower crane, which, good for her, because there's no way I'd be climbing out on that thing.
Yeah, geez, Louise.
Not a
Holy
chance.
Moses, that's...
Harry ends up rescuing Dana, and this is probably one of my favorite scenes, and I feel like sums up the entire vibe of the movie, is when Aziz gets kind of hooked on the missile, and you've got the chopper is coming around the other side of the building, and Harry fires the missile with him attached to it, and he just goes flying into the chopper, and everybody explodes.
Yeah.
Like that very much sums up what this entire movie is all about.
Yes. Very much a throwback to the 1980s style with that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I feel like, yeah.
And done in such a way, even though it could be overly comedic and ridiculous, it doesn't really come across that way. That's the thing they do so well about that, is you've got a guy who's accidentally hooked up on a missile, and you're going to fire the missile, and he's still going to dangle from it until it crashes into a helicopter and explodes. That could have been done in such a way to make it look and seem so ridiculous and so outlandish, but it really, really works.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Look, James Cameron, man.
Right. So the Tasker family is reunited, and we see a scene about a year later. I think Harry and Helen are working together as Omega agents Boris and Doris. They do encounter Simon again, which is kind of funny. He's a waiter at this ball that they're at, and I believe he also is not able to contain his bladder again and runs away terrified when they reveal their true identities. And they finish the movie with a tango, even though they don't really have time to tango again.
You do not have time to tango, buddy. Come on now.
National security. Come on, guys. We don't have time for this.
His code name is Boris, and yours will be Natasha?
Natasha?
Doris. The way he says it, too, he's able to get that, like, I think it's just his natural charisma.
Yeah.
Well, Moose and Squirrel is still the best set of code names ever.
Well, yeah. All right. We've already talked a little bit about how we feel about this movie, but let's jump into some deep thoughts.
And now, Deep Thoughts.
I have an opinion on this matter.
Don't mince words, Bones. What do you really think?
I like it a lot. Wow. It's very deep. Thank you.
All right. So we've already kind of gushed quite a bit on how much we really, really, really like this movie. I'm going to ask you this. Is there anything that does not work in this movie for you?
Not for Pat. I'll cede my time to anybody else. I love the whole bloody thing.
That was easy. Pat cedes all of his time to the right honorable gentleman from the other side of the Zoom call.
I think if there's something that doesn't work, I was thinking about it last night. This movie is over the top from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
There is no expectation of reality. However, even in the universe they've created for themselves, the ending sequence is a bit over the top, I think. There are some moments where you're just like, okay, I get it. I see what you did there. They've created such a good universe, and we talked about the character development and some of the other things. And I feel like there's a small bit of it that sort of, they're paying it a disservice when it gets to the end, and they just go and go and go.
Yeah.
All that said, I love action movies, and sometimes you just have to do it. I just think there's a middle ground, a middle line they could have hit with some of the ending stuff. If there's anything that doesn't work, that's it.
Yeah. The only thing that I remember, and I almost hesitate to say doesn't work for me, because I think the movie is absolutely fine the way it is. I really wouldn't change anything about it at all, but I was thinking about it a little bit. I was like, you know what? I if you wanted to give it just a handful of other scenes, give it like an additional, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes. I think it would have been nice to have a little bit more of the daughter in the movie before we get to the end, because we don't really see her much. Like, we see her steal the cash and jump on the boyfriend's ride at the beginning, but then we really don't see her much at all in the rest of the movie. We don't get too many interactions between her and Harry. So, not that we need it. We don't need it by the end of the movie. We know he loves his family. We know all that we really need to know to get to the end where she's kidnapped and held hostage. But if there's anything, if I was going to add anything to the movie, I might just add like a scene or two with the daughter. Maybe the two of them interacting, or I don't know, just maybe a little bit more with her character. Otherwise, everything else, rest of the movie, totally fine. If they don't, if James Cameron's not listening and he doesn't want to add that into a special edition, totally fine with that too. Like, the movie is amazing the way it is. So that'd be the only thing for me. I'd throw that piece in there. When was the first time you guys saw this? Now I mentioned I did not see it in the theater. I was not old enough to see it in the theater. I saw it on video, probably as soon as it came out on VHS. I saw it on video not too long after that. So it would have been high school, but I did not see it in the theater. Pat, did you say you saw it in the theater?
I am almost positive I went to the theater with this one.
Okay.
And saw it a couple times because I feel like I watched this movie. I'm trying to think of the last time I saw it, but I could almost like turn it off. You know what I'm saying? And just like, or not turn it. I don't even know what that means. I'm sorry. I could turn the sound down and get all the lines. I remember every scene, every nuance, everything. But yeah, I first saw it in the theater. Yeah, I loved the show. I remember when it came out. I want to say that my folks went and saw it. My mom wasn't a huge Arnold Schwarzenegger and action fan. Not that she held anything against him.
Yeah.
Especially when he married Maria Shriver. When he married into the Kennedys, mom, growing up Irish and everything, big fan of the Kennedys and all that. That immediately took him up a step in the category there. But I remember my folks went to see the movie, and my mom was even like talking about like, yeah, that was just fun. It was great to see her in their whole interaction, if I'm remembering it correctly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I saw the movie early on, and I remember going back and watching it every couple of years.
Yeah. Well, what about you? When was the first time you saw it?
I think like you, John, we probably saw it as soon as it came out on video. You know, Arnold was in his element at that time. I mean, I feel like anything that he did, we were at least investigating whether we wanted to see it or not. I'll admit, whilst for some people, Jamie Lee Curtis was a draw at the time, I did not know to appreciate Jamie Lee Curtis for what she was, and all those things. I feel like this movie was one of my first exposures to a Miss Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh, I'm going to use my new sound drop to reply to that.
Okay.
Oh no! Oh no! No!
Yeah. That's kind of sad, but you've converted.
Indeed.
Okay. All right. That's fine then.
What was Arnold Schwarzenegger's movie prior to this one? Was it Last Action Hero?
Yeah, and then before
so.
that, Kindergarten Cop. Would those have been directly relate next to this one? Now I have to look.
Because it would have been, let's see, right before this would have been, I had the list up and then I lost it. Right before this was Last Action Hero. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Because in the documentary, they talk about how that movie didn't do as well.
Yeah.
And they said that was a big struggle for Arnold, because like everything he'd done previous had always been successful.
Yeah.
You know, and they say that just everything he was used to winning in all his competitions and all that, but that setback, and that was the first time that Hollywood kind of turned, and or the public, they just didn't like the movie.
Right.
And he was like, it hurt, right? Like, I think if I remember it right, they described it as, man, that really just hurt. And he was kind of like, do I really want to do this anymore? What am I doing?
Right.
You know, and all this kind of thing. And then this movie came along, and it just like completely went the other direction, right? It just was over the top, and in terms of popularity and all of that. So
because
I thought that was
prior to this, you had a string of nearly every year, if not every other year. No, it's just almost every year. Sometimes 2 movies a year. He had, starting in '82, he had Conan, then Conan the Destroyer, Terminator, arguably by me one of his best movies, Red Sonja, Commando, Raw Deal, Predator, Running Man, Red Heat, Twins, Total Recall, Kindergarten Cop, Terminator 2, and then Last Action Hero, and then this, True Lies, and then I'd say the next several movies, not his strongest ones. So I almost feel like, gosh, I almost feel like after True Lies, he kind of dipped again. Because after True Lies, we've got Junior, which might be, if I'm looking at the list here, that might be one of his lowest rated. Oh, nope, never mind. There's another one coming up soon. Junior was his next movie after this, the one where he gets pregnant.
Which was not great.
Not great. And then Eraser, which was not bad. I did like Eraser.
Oh, that was good. You've just been erased.
Then Jingle. You've just been erased. Jingle All the Way was after that. His lowest rated movie, I believe, of the entire list, Batman and Robin. Huh?
Understandable.
It deserves. Yeah. Quick, find the editor. Chop up the movie. Chop
Take
it now.
me out of it.
Yeah. Cut out all the scenes with Mr. Freeze now. Then End of Days.
We are terrible.
Yeah. So was that movie.
Oh, look at you, Mr. Smarty Pants.
Yeah,
there it is.
Look at John bringing the truth. Then End of Days.
Great
Then
big
The
torpedo of
Sixth
truth
Day.
you are.
Then Collateral Damage. Then Terminator 3. Rise of My Blood Pressure. And then...
Wait a minute. You didn't like Terminator 3?
No.
Oddly, 3 wasn't that good, but then they kind of redeemed the franchise with a couple that weren't as bad.
Yeah. Genesis was a little weird, but...
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
What's the one where naked Arnold shows up at the end? Was that Genesis?
No, that was Salvation.
And yes.
A lot of people don't like Salvation. I like that one.
I found it interesting. I'm a world building guy. I always have been. So anything that sort of fleshes out that earlier stuff in a weird way, like, works for me. But I could see where some people would be like, "What in the hell?"
Well, and they planned for that to be multiple movies, that they would follow that kind of timeline and that time period. And I was like,
but it didn't.
I'm all on board. Yeah, but
it wasn't.
Wait a minute, Salvation?
Yeah,
was supposed to be okay.
That was the one with Christian Bale as John
Right,
Connor.
because wasn't that was, we saw Skynet go online in Salvation, right?
Salvation was Salvation.
I'm confusing my metaphors again, I think.
Salvation starts kind of present day, and then we kind of jump ahead to, it's John Connor, but he's not the leader of the Resistance. He's just kind of like a soldier within the Resistance, but he happens to know a lot about the Terminators, and so his division kind of is more successful in their battles than the rest of the divisions are, and the leaders of the leaders of the Resistance don't fully trust him, because they're like, how does this kid know this stuff? He's just a soldier. Like, we give the orders around here. So it was kind of in that time period of, and actually Kyle Reese is it Anton Yelchin? Played Kyle Reese. So he's like a young teenage Kyle Reese. So you're still years away from when he actually sends him back in time, to save his mother. So it's kind of that time period. And then he kind of, I'm looking at his filmography here, and then he starts in with the Expendables movies. So he kind of comes back a little bit, I think, with the Expendables movies. The Terminator Genesis comes back in, and there have not been a ton. I mean, he did Terminator Dark Fate, and honestly, he really has not done any movies. What was Terminator Dark Fate was 2019, and I'm not seeing a movie. He's done like an appearance in a TV series here and there. Yeah, no, he hasn't done a movie since 2019. It does show
Genesis was supposed to be a series 2, I thought.
It was supposed to be a bit of a reboot. So yeah, and that never happened either. Apparently, they have completed filming it. He is going to play the president in Kung Fury 2.
Nice.
So, and they're working on The Legend of Conan, so I think he's coming back with that. But yeah, no, he hasn't done a movie in like 5 years. Or at least a movie that's been released. All right, gents. Before we jump into our 3 questions, anything else you want to say about True Lies, other than it being this amazingly awesome blend of comedy and action and so much fun Arnold Schwarzenegger stuff?
Just a fun, everything you said, just a fun movie.
Yeah. It is. If you're listening to this and you haven't seen it, you absolutely go see it. I don't know why you haven't seen it, so go see it. Stop everything you're doing right now. If you're driving, stop in the middle of the road. Get out of your car, walk to the nearest movie theater, and then go see it. Or It's probably streaming somewhere too. I don't know.
So you didn't like Terminator 3?
It is one of my least favorite of the Terminator movies.
Okay. I mean, I could see that. Like, there's other. I just,
Yeah. It felt to me there were too many of all the different missteps that some of the different Terminator movies have had. It felt to me like that movie was trying too hard to be. It was trying too hard to be a. How do I want to say this? It was trying too hard to be like Terminator 2.
I see.
And like there were several moments that are just exact copies. It was like, what did people love from this movie? Let's put that scene in, but instead this time we'll do it this way. And it like there were so many scenes that felt like just absolute lifts from Terminator 2, and just it just didn't have the same, gravity to it. It didn't have the same feel to it. There was just a lot about that movie. And when I did not like what was it, the TX? Was that what she was called?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did not like that Terminator because it gets to a point where I want the Terminator to be, I've said this before, I really like the first Terminator because it's a horror movie, because it's not a sci-fi movie. It's not even really an action movie, kind of is, but it's more of a horror movie. And I like the Terminator when the Terminator is a simple killing machine that you kind of have, like, you can fight back. Like a regular person could kind of fight back. It's going to take some doing, but you have an opportunity to beat this thing, but it is just unstoppable. It's going to keep coming for you. When it gets to the point where it's like the TX Terminator, I can make both liquid metal and guns out of my hand. And it's kind of like when we used to play, like when kids would play in somebody's backyard or in the street or wherever, and we'd come up with games, and you'd always have that one kid and be like, bam, bam, I got you. No, I'm wearing special armor that blocks all of your bullets, and my gun is bigger than your gun and has special bullets that can block your bullets, and then they blow your bullets up and turn your bullets into my bullets, and then you die.
Yeah.
That's what Terminator 3 felt like to me.
Just too power. Yeah.
It felt like the kid that was like trying to cheat by continually one-upping everything you had to bring to it. And it just, I don't know. It was a weird Terminator movie. I just didn't care for it. I still watch it. Like I've watched it probably 4 times.
But when you frame it like that, and it's like, okay, well, our main characters don't even have a chance. Right. It's just like, even if they were to win, they would end up losing. Like there is no hope. It's just those kinds of movies. It just wears the guy down. I get what you're saying. Totally.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes when you win, you lose, but no. And that's what I like. I'm fine with the T-1000 because it was, and when I say this, don't take this in the wrong way. The T-1000 is a one-trick pony. It is liquid metal. It can look like other people. It can make like stabbing objects, but it can't make guns or explosives, or it has limitations. Like I want a Terminator that has limitations. When the Terminator becomes too all powerful, like I think the TX was way too much, I'm like, nah, then I'm less interested now. Like I want there to be, I want it to be simpler than that. And I'm really just less interested. And I don't know, some of the scenes that I know are played up for comedic effect. I'm like, the Terminator inflating her chest so that she can get somebody's attention.
Right.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you.
I have detailed files on human anatomy. Yeah, I bet you do. It's not for that reason there, Arnold. Yeah, why didn't Arnold ever try to do that?
That's a good question.
Maybe he did. I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle.
You forgot to say please.
You forgot to say please. All right. I think it's time for 3 questions.
He asks each traveler 5 questions. 3 questions. 3 questions.
It's impossible to answer.
Impossible because you don't know the answer.
Nobody could answer that question.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
All right. 3 questions. First question, if you were going to be a super spy, what is the most boring profession you could think of to use as your cover? And when we answer this question, we're not disparaging other people's jobs. We're just pointing out that this would not be the job for us.
Most boring.
Yeah. Like if somebody were to look at that and be like, there is no way that guy is like a international man of mystery.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah.
Google, believe it or not, pays people $15 an hour to do human verified search results to help feed their algorithm.
Oh.
They give you search queries, you put them in, you rank the results.
Okay.
There it is.
That's sufficiently boring.
Mm.
Okay. And I feel like you'd be stuck in a dark room all the time, so nobody's ever going to really see you.
Indeed.
So you have a lot of opportunities to, bug out if you need to.
My thoughts? Exactly.
All right. I got you. I see. Pat, what about you?
That's hard because now I'm starting to overthink it. And it's like, okay, this seems like this is totally not a spot. But then you would kind of assume that would be the spy. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe some kind of like a personal assistant or something like that. Someone that gets in close that just is a nondescript. I think the biggest thing is you want someone that blends in. You want the nondescript, the person that blends in that nobody notices. Do you guys remember Heir to the Empire? Remember that book?
Oh yeah.
You remember when they go meet up with Talon Card and Han Solo goes to meet with him? And one of the Talon Card's last things is he's like, hey, spoilers, by the way, for Heir to the Empire. So turn off your podcast machines, everybody. But remember when Talon Card says, oh, and by the way, tell your number 2 man that he's like the worst in the business. And Han's like, all right, okay. And then Wedge comes up and he says, hey, you're the worst in your business. And Wedge says, yeah, but isn't that the point? Because then another guy comes walking up and the way they describe the guy is He could blend in anywhere. No one would notice him. He is just like a whole, no one notices him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I could pick a profession, but I could pick that personality. I think that's because you don't want someone that's just like, hey, that guy just kind of quietly goes about his business. And no, because that's being noticed. You don't want it. You just and it's, I get kind of excited thinking about this because that is a goal of mine in life. I want to be not noticed. I don't want anyone to be aware of me. Just, you know what I'm saying? I find those kinds of characters fascinating. I've always reading about ninja and people how they, blend in and all that. And that's not just super camouflage, even though that's part of it, but just blending into society, blending into a room, blending in, fitting in, and having conversations that you get more information out of that person. But then when they turn around, it's just like, who was that guy? I don't know. He's gone. But I just find that so in answer to your question, I don't think I have a career, and I'm sorry, but I'll answer this question like the character in Heir to the Empire, one that nobody notices.
All right, that's acceptable. I won't hit the Pat rejected your question button. So,
well, that's nice.
Yeah. What you made me think of as you were saying all that is it's like the guy is designed to blend in, disappear, and I'm picturing the scene from Last Crusade. Marcus, he sticks out like a sore thumb. We'll find him. Oh, the heck you will. He's got a 2-day head start, which is more than he needs. He's got friends in every town and village from here to Sudan, speaks a dozen languages, knows every local custom. He'll blend in, disappear. You'll never see him again. With any luck, he's got the Grail already.
Lost in his own museum.
Does anyone here speak English? Anyone here speak English or ancient Greek even?
Yeah, hello. No, I don't want to buy that.
No, thank you. To my wife's point, and this will come up several times in some of these, the librarian is often the underestimated profession that could be used for this type of thing, because you wouldn't necessarily assume that a librarian is going to be a super spy. So that was her suggestion, which I totally agree with. I think I'm trying to pick. Actually, librarian probably wouldn't be a bad choice, because I'm also trying to think. The one I picked was cashier, because I've been a cashier before.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, like, I don't think anybody would ever assume that a cashier is going to be an international spy. However, it's often tough to be a cashier, and then if duty calls, you've got to leave and go off on a mission.
True.
So it's a little tough to get away if you were a cashier. So I actually think my wife's choice of librarian is probably better, because you could pretend to go into the stacks and disappear for like several hours.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
All right, so I might steal her answer and just say librarian. That wouldn't be a bad one. You kind of need, I mean, to your point, Pat, you kind of need to be a gopher. Like, you need to be somebody who can disappear for long periods of time, be like, I got to go run an errand.
Yep.
So
that's where I, as an example, and kind of a sick and twisted version of that, did you know who the bad guy was in this movie before he slapped Tia Carrera? Did you know him?
No.
Okay, that was awesome. That scene, not that physical abuse visited upon someone is awesome, but I thought that scene was so well done, because just the way he plays, hey, can I just talk to you for a minute? Wham! And then all of a sudden you realize, oh, he's the bad dude. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and it was such a misdirect. So it's something like that would fit with that. Like, you just don't expect that guy to be that guy.
My wife did just point out, I got a text message. She did just point out to me that I probably gave the wrong answer. My answer that would have fit for me perfectly should have been a reporter. Because I've got the glasses, could be a reporter, and then when necessary,
Superman.
When necessary, I take off the glasses and I run right into traffic because I can't see anything. But the idea is there. The idea is solid. You have an excuse as a reporter. You have an excuse to just run out and go do things.
Right.
Yeah.
Or the Tony Stark approach, right?
Right.
The truth is, I am Iron Man.
Yeah. I am an Uber driver. All right. Question number 2.
Of course, whenever you drop the line, I am Iron Man, you got to have it play.
Yeah.
I mean, you just gotta.
Which, in that movie, I'm trying to think, when that came out, the whole X-Men thing was, they wanted to stay anonymous because of the bigotry against mutants, right?
The anonymous X-Men?
And what?
The anonymous X-Men?
The anonymous X-Men.
Yeah.
And then, all superheroes were supposed to have a secret identity to protect. That was what was so great.
Would you call them the unidentified X-Men?
The unidentifiable X-Men. Yeah. But that's what makes that Tony Stark thing that much cooler, is when he's trying, he just can't keep his big mouth shut. And he's just like, truth is, I am Iron Man.
Let's all sit on the floor for a minute.
Yeah. Were there any other superhero movies that had come out where the superhero was just that out there with everything?
Not that I can think of. Not in that same way. Yeah.
No. Another reason that character was so unique. Yeah. Cool stuff. Anyways, just random musings.
Yeah. All right. Question number 2. This might have been one of the more challenging questions because you had to ask somebody else this question.
Yeah.
If you and your spouse, and in this case, it could have been for all of us, our spouses, or someone close to you, became a spy duo where you're going to be working together as a team, what would your spouse's code name be? And I asked you to actually ask them to come up with their own code name. So I'm curious.
Fluffy.
Yeah.
Fluffy is what your wife came up with?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
My wife wouldn't answer this question.
Oh, wait. Hold on. We need to amend the button. That's why I projected your question.
Yeah,
I can run upstairs and ask. I can try. I can try, but
well, ironically, Pat, or maybe not ironically, you and I are in a bit of a daily double situation here because I kind of got the same response. Was well, I can come up with a name for you. I'm like, no. That's not what we're trying to do here.
That's not the game we're playing.
Yeah, so
I even tried okay, well, why don't you
So here, let me do a new sound drop for us. The spouses just rejected our question. Dun, 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 dun. Womp womp.
Yeah, I got nothing. And then I was like, well, here, why don't you come up with one for me? And then I figured I'd extrapolate what hers would be.
Yeah.
You know, like the Boris and Doris thing.
Extrapolating, Pat. That's big words for this late at night.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I was just reading the dictionary. And that was, that wasn't even funny. My response, that was terrible. John, can you edit that out? I know you're editing. I know you're gonna.
Oh yeah, I edit everything.
Yeah, I know. Guys, I got nothing. And Tammy, she wouldn't give me anything. So I don't know. Maybe I can run upstairs right now and try it again.
It's probably okay.
Maybe just not.
I was trying to run off of. I mean, it's been a while since she's been a librarian, but I was like trying to run off of like librarian ideas. I was like, I don't know, the cataloger of doom or something.
How about the bookie? Yeah. How about the bookie? The bookkeeper.
The bookkeeper. That'd be a good
bookkeeper.
one.
There it is.
Oh, because they just had that movie, The Beekeeper.
Yeah.
The keeper of the books.
I could see Sharon doing the same stuff Jason Statham does.
Sure.
Yeah.
The
stealth scholar. I don't know.
Stealth scholar would be good.
Yeah. I don't know. All right. Well, okay. Question 2 may have been a bit of a bust, but that's okay.
No, you know what? I'm going to say no. I'm going to push back on that. It is not a bust.
Not a bust? Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's sort of like when they say in the NFL.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You got to run the ball.
That's true.
You might not have you always got to run the ball. You might not have a running game that's going to get you 6 yards per carry.
Right.
Got to run the ball.
That question was not a touchdown play. That question was we're grinding it out. It was a 2-yard run.
That's right.
It got a little bit of traction, right. Just not what we expected.
And honestly, it might translate to something later in the game.
It might later on.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So no, I encourage you, John, in your 3 questions, I think maintain food questions.
Yeah.
And maintain. Yeah, I think push it. I think it was
maintain low tones.
I think we're gonna maintain getting the spouses involved in the questions here. I think so. We'll do this
that
from
would
time
be
to
awesome.
Time. Yeah. All right. Question number 3. What is your? And actually, I'm gonna throw in a little caveat that I did not throw in originally when I sent you the question. Question number 3. What is your favorite Jamie Lee Curtis role that is not this movie?
God bless it. Okay, I got to go last. I'm back to the.
You actually made my decision much easier by doing it that way for me.
All right.
Well, it's got to be Wanda.
Oh, you going with a fish called Wanda?
Yeah.
Nice.
If it can't be this one, then it's an easy choice.
Okay. If this one was in the mix, I think this would be number 2 for me. A very, very close runner-up to this one would be her role in Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that?
Mm-hmm. I have not yet. I need to.
It is awesome and hilarious.
It literally is Everything Everywhere All at Once.
It absolutely is. It is. I remember watching that and just, I'm not even sure what I was watching at the time, but I was enjoying all of it. And then when the movie was over, I was like, you know what? That was amazing. And then when it started winning all the awards, I was like, yes, it should. And please have some.
Yes. Have some.
I'm going to go actually with the original Halloween as my favorite.
There you go.
I'm going to go old school and say original Halloween. Not Prom Night. Prom Night was a little too weird. I watched that one not too recently, or not too long ago, and it was fine, but it was a little, I don't know, it was a little weird. But in terms of her performances, I'm gonna go original Halloween. But yeah, if this one was in the mix, that would be a much tougher question, I think. All right, Pat, I do apologize for messing you up. So,
did you guys ever see the movie Spare Parts?
Oh, long
doesn't
time
ring
ago.
a bell, but
it's really a good movie, and I don't know what cycle, which group of my life. I don't know if we watched it as a family. I don't know if we watched it I don't know, but it's a really good movie. She's in it.
Yeah, is that the one that's like is it like the robotics club?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched that one several years ago. Isn't George Lopez in that movie too?
George Lopez is in that movie.
Yes. Okay. All right.
Okay,
She's also great in Knives Out. Like I really enjoy that movie too.
Oh yeah.
I need to see that movie.
You need to see that one. The second one, in my opinion, the second one is okay. I really like the first one best. Apparently, there's a third one coming out. But yeah, Knives Out. If you need to borrow it, I've got it.
Okay.
So the one that drives me a little crazy, only because I was working in a movie theater at the time that it came out, is the 2003 version of Freaky Friday. Only because I had to listen to that trailer for that movie when I was working at the concession stand over and over and over, because it played in the lobby. And I think I've seen that movie twice, and that's probably the most I will see it. Not because of the movie itself, just because I can't stand to hear the trailer anymore.
Should I push back against you? Should I push back against you not allowing it to be this movie and say that I'm going to pick from the uncredited voice of the computer narrator or the narrator?
You may ask. That's a little joke.
I know. So I'm gonna say everything everywhere all at once.
Okay.
She was fantastic in.
I applaud that choice.
I'm looking. Yeah, I need to see Knives Out. I haven't seen a lot of like the Halloween movies. Spare Parts. She was good. I like that movie as well.
Yeah.
Freaky Friday and Halloween. I haven't seen those.
If you're gonna watch the Halloween movies, do the originals.
Okay.
Don't invest too much time in the newer ones.
Is she in the originals? Yeah, she is.
Yeah, she's in the original, and she's back for the ones they just did.
Okay.
Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends.
Okay.
The first of the new Halloweens is okay. Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends, yeah. Yeah, in my opinion, they were meh. I'd rather go back and watch the original. Yeah.
Got it.
All right. That is going to do it for True Lies. So much fun going back and talking about this one again. This is part of this is actually bringing the end to our Unabomb month, where all of our movies featured explosions of some kind. Next month, we are starting off the fun and games theme of July, where it's all either game or sport related. Our Patreon is Breakin' and Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo, that actually we're going to talk about here in just a few minutes when we're done recording this one. Patreon short will be a movie called Shattered Dead from 1994. Then the rest of our movies for the regular feed are Angels in the Outfield, Quiz Show, Cobb, Hoop Dreams, and we'll end it with Maverick. So we got a lot of fun stuff coming up in the month of July. I'm having a hard time believing
the tall, dark stranger there.
Mm-hmm. I am having a hard time believing that it is summertime, gentlemen. So the fact that we're already hitting the month of July for our movies, the year is going kind of quickly, because pulling back.
It was 80 something today. I mean, it got there.
Oh yeah, no, it feels like summer outside. But what I'm saying is, what's weird is once we usually hit the month of July, that's when I start planning ahead for the next year. Like that's when I start pulling my list of movies, and so this is about the time that This is about the time when Cicada John climbs up out of the ground after like 7 months, and
Cicada John. Now there's an image.
There's my code name right there.
Cicada John. Okay.
The 30-something cicada is what John is. Climbs out of his shell and then starts picking a list of movies to torture everybody with. But yeah, plenty of fun stuff. But thank you, gentlemen. As always, I really enjoy talking movies, and especially when we get to do really, really fun ones like this one.
Thank you, John.
All right, everybody, be excellent to each other. Go watch some good movies. Go watch this one if you haven't seen this one lately, and we will see you back here next time.
Bring the lights down low, it's time to show. Lights, camera, you know what we mean. Behold the magic of the silver screen. Some movies rock